Saturday. Got home in time from an event here in town and was able to watch the Kentucky Derby. And I tell you what, an absolute incredible Kentucky Derby. Rich Strike comes away your winner this weekend, and the Kentucky Derby came out of nowhere around that final turn in 80-1 odds to win the Derby. That horse was 2, 4, 6, 8. I want to say he was about 15th coming around that final turn and was able to prevail in winning the Kentucky Derby. What an unbelievable Derby it was. Just kind of set off an unbelievable weekend in sports. That is one of the bucket list events for me to get to, is the Kentucky Derby. One of these years I will make it up there to Louisville and watch the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah, it was aptly named Rich Strike. Somebody got rich, that's for sure. I think you could have bought that horse a year ago for about $30,000, and so now with stud fees and everything that's going to happen with siren off of a Kentucky Derby champion, you're going to make tens of millions of dollars.
Yeah,
that's basically what that means. I mean, we'll see what happens in the next couple of legs of the Triple Crown, but again, a huge moment for Rich Strike, and it certainly was another great Kentucky Derby this weekend.
Yep, and so that was that. That just kind of set off a good weekend. 256-576-4977. That is the number to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. And my wife has said that we were going. She's going to buy the hat. I'm going to get the suit. And we're going to go up to Kentucky and one of these days in Louisville and watch the Kentucky Derby. It is a big day in college football because today is the day that we are expected to get the old rubber stamp on a guidance that will clarify existing NCAA bylaws that will prohibit boosters from being involved in recruiting. Any booster or booster-led collective that has been found to have associated with prospects about recruiting on another college team or in high school will be found to have violated NCAA rules. That'll put the boosters at that said school at risk of sanctions. A booster that runs collectives, collectives cannot communicate with student-athlete or others affiliated with a student-athlete to encourage them to remain enrolled or attend institutions. Today is the day that we are expected to get the rubber stamp that'll enforce said bylaws.
Not surprised. They had to be something done due to what Texas A&M and some other schools were doing. It's like I saw a quote from Mark Stoops from this weekend. He goes, was NIL really basically created to get $25 million boosters to put $25 million in a pot and just say, okay, let's go out here and buy 25 players? In other words, as he said, it's pay for play. That's not what this was intended to be. You certainly can earn money off of name, image, and likeness, but you weren't. It's what we continue to say about getting paid something up front without ever doing anything, and so that's again, it's a slippery slope even with name, image, and likeness when you're paying these college players that have proven it, like a Bryce Young, because there's no limit and cap on it, so you can pay them as much as you want. But again, name, image, and likeness is here to stay. And the thing that you always shake your head about is the NCAA being reactive instead of proactive. There's never a plan with the NCAA and the member schools. To me, they never get together and try to, okay, here's what we're going to do. Here's what's coming. Let's have this plan in place. It's never like that. It's always, things start happening, and then they have to do what you just talked about, Scott. They have to rubber stamp something, go back and put some rules in place. But again, the NCAA is going through a transition of its own with Mark Emmert retiring in 2023, and they've lost some of their power. They, as we've already repeatedly said, they don't run college football. Basically, the college football playoff does. But again, I think for the long-term viability of the sport, though, there has to be some checks and balances put in because just basically going to the highest bidder is not what this is about. This is,
right.
when you go when you get drafted into the NFL and then you get your rookie contract and then eventually you either earn a second contract or you are granted free agency. Yeah, that's where you can go to the highest bidder, man. It's all about signing bonus, how much guaranteed money you're getting. That's fine, but that's not what collegiate athletics and even high school athletics and anything and all that was about. Because you've even started hearing when Quinn Ewers was coming out and of course with Nico, Iamaleava, pardon me. Then you start hearing about the deal he's already agreed to at Tennessee. That's not what this is about. So to me, you've got to regulate this stuff a little bit. Certainly the players deserve to make money. I don't blame them at all. And they, as Rick Neuheisel said, they deserve a place at the table and really where their money needs to be coming from. And I totally agree with Coach in this situation. It doesn't need to be coming from a slush fund, which is basically what these are. It needs to be coming from the TV money because these dudes are the ones that these TV contracts that are so lucrative, they're not based on how the coaches. It's how good the players are because if you don't have great players, you're not going to have a great program. And so, again, it's going to be interesting to see where the sport goes from here.
All right, 256-576-4977. Are you excited the fact that today is the day that we should get that rubber stamp and kind of start limiting these name, image, and likeness deals to what it was created? Now, here's the thing, and what I've been hearing is that they're not going to punish the kids, the individuals that took these NIL deals as far as not letting them participate or things like that. From what I was hearing, is that they're going to kind of put the kids under the light, so to speak, and find out where all of this money came from. They're going to go after the boosters, not the kids that decided to take the money to enroll in said school type of thing. So the kids probably would still be eligible at their institutions wherever they're at. But the problem is, just keep this in mind, if you're expecting the NCAA to come out and do something right away, don't expect that to happen. The NCAA is down 15 to 20 members of their enforcement committee because of COVID-19 pandemic layoffs. The association eventually hopes to replace everybody, but they have been, I guess, less than willing and perhaps unable to enforce existing bylaws because of, one, the antitrust legal challenges that they fear would lie ahead, and they don't have enough people to really enforce everything that's going on because they haven't hired everybody back yet because of the COVID-19 pandemic layoffs. Yeah. So there's just that. Putting that one out there.
More thanks for Joe. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Doing a great job, brother.
They'll eventually get it all on par and on track there. So that's happening, going on today. 256 again, 256-576-4977. We want to hear from you on this Monday as we come to you live from Bill Penney Toyota, sitting out here in the service department, hanging out here Monday through Friday. You can get your car service 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and then on Saturday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. And let's go to said Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Jeff from the Borough with us. Good morning, Jeff.
How's it going, guys?
What's up, Jeff?
Don't tell me y'all not sitting. I'm not sitting outside. Is it not warm enough for y'all? Not warm enough for y'all yet?
It's okay today.
It's a little brisk.
There's some wind out there. It's a nice weather here this morning in the Rocket City.
When I say brisk, it's 61 degrees, but it feels cold.
It feels like 41. Is that what it is? What deal? I didn't know that.
Well, it doesn't quite feel that cold, Jeff.
There's a little nip in the air.
But I will say this: congrats to your Wildcats. That's a pretty good 2 out of 3. Finally taking a series, the first team to take one from the University of Tennessee.
Well, I didn't do anything, but now when they should have been on the same field with them. I watched them a Thursday game. When you walk 12 men, you don't deserve to win. So, Thursday night they walked 12 guys. It should have been 15 to 2. How they won 2 out of 3, I don't know. When you can find an acorn or walnut every now and again, I guess, because they didn't deserve to be on the same field with them. But they did shut them down a couple games and won the first two. So I'll give him credit for that. Johnny might be playing for his job. I don't know. They've had a lot of people banged up. I think they've got four starting pitchers out. So the kid Hagenow pitched on Thursday. He's from Farragut in Knoxville. His brother played at Middle Tennessee. Tyler Hagenow played starting catcher for Middle Tennessee for 4 years. So they've got a lot of kids banged up, but they still fighting, I guess. But are they going to make the tournament? I don't know. Probably not. If they do, it'll be the last seed. If they do make it, they've got 2 series left. So but yeah, it's a big win for them. It's huge to get 2 out of 3. Like you said, they haven't lost the series yet. So I guess people in Tennessee and Knoxville probably are shocked. But and as far as you guys talking about the down the enforcement staff, well, see, Scott, they had to hire them back because they had the Ohio State case to look into the fencing and golf program. They had to hire them back for that. I know it's not a big deal, so they had to fire them back to look into those manicures for the women's basketball program. Of course, I know that's not a big deal to some people, but they had to look into that. But no, it's not that. That's the one thing they don't run is college football, the playoff, whatever. Everything else they do. So and it's all about football. Unfortunately, that's what it's about. It's not about any other sport. People don't care about anything else. It's about football and where schools go on that. They're not worried about the other sports they have. But if they have football, then that's the king. Football, yeah, you make the most money as football, but you spend the most too. You spend the most of any sport it is. It's the most expensive sport you have. The equipment and everything else you spend, and everything else. These other sports, you don't spend half the money that you do with football. And like an athlete just told me one time, it don't matter what level of football you're at, you're going to spend money. I don't care if you're 1A or Division III, you're going to spend money on football. That's just the way. That's just the reality of it all. And as far as I'm concerned, the Division 1A don't need a playoff, but they've got one. The other schools need it. That they're not on TV like 1A is every week. That they've got enough money, they don't need it as far as I'm concerned. But we've got it now, and it's going to expand to 12 or whatever. And I think someday it's going to be there'll be a 16-team playoff, whatever. And I think the bowl games will go away. I think it'll be just a playoff, and if you don't make that, then your season's over with. I don't think the bowl games are going to survive. You two are already wanting the Rose Bowl to change and do something different. We can't have tradition in college football. We've got to change stuff. So, I know how you guys feel about that, but I'll just hang up and listen, guys. It should be an interesting rest of the season for SEC baseball. I know softball, the tournaments this week, so it'll be exciting to watch that. So, hang in there, guys. Have a good week. See you.
Yeah, Jeff talking about name, image, and likeness and the change in college football, and he brings up the Rose Bowl.
Right.
And if you look, as far as bowl games go, the Rose Bowl really is the only bowl left that traditionally plays in the traditional spot that we've seen. The Orange Bowl, the Sugar Bowl, all used to be played on New Year's Day. You used to have your Fiesta Bowl early, then you had your Rose Bowl, and then you had the Sugar Bowl, and then you had the Orange Bowl. It all went in that lineup, and they've all moved. They've all made concessions to move, and they've all moved around a little bit, and they're not all on the same day as what they used to be. The Rose Bowl is the only bowl game left as far as the big ones. That hasn't changed. At this point, if the Rose Bowl ultimately does move, does that mean we've lost all the tradition in college football?
No. You just have to evolve. That's what it is. The Rose Bowl is still going to be the Rose Bowl just because it's on a different date or just because they don't have the parade the exact same hour of the same day every year. Come on. It's still going to be the Rose Bowl.
Right.
It's still, it hasn't lost any of its luster when you have, in effect, 2 Rose Bowls because when it's part of the college football playoff, it's, we've seen it be in the national championship game. And, it wasn't on the same day then from the standpoint of the same time. Now they would have 2 of them, But again, it didn't. The other,
yeah, when they had the BCS, they still played the Rose Bowl at the same time,
and it never lost any of its luster, even though it wasn't part of the national championship game. So I don't think it's going to lose any luster if you change the date or if you change the time of the parade. You're still going to have the parade, and you're still going to have the game. It's not going to affect it at all from the standpoint of its history, just because it changes time of game or time of a parade. To me, that's just being, stubborn and just lacking common sense to change with the times. Because if you don't adapt, then you get passed over, to me. You know what I'm saying? If you want to do what's best for the sport, you need to bend a little bit. And right now, the Big Ten and the Pac-12 both suck. So I don't know why they're so hell-bent. They act like they run college football, and both of them been exchanging national championships. All they've been exchanging is ass whippings. You know what I'm saying?
It's a pretty powerful tool. I mean, you got to think about it. I mean, it's pretty powerful that the Rose Bowl has and is causing a lot of this, and it really was one of the big factors in why we did not get the college football playoff expansion ratified and certified this past few months.
Because the Big Ten and the Pac-12 don't have any leadership, and they're running themselves into ditches. That's what's going on with the whole thing. That's why they look like morons, like they work for Joe.
Let's get that first break in, because Brian Matthews needs to join us. Auburn baseball lost 2 out of 3 to Arkansas, but there's some football news as well. Auburn in on some recruits. We'll talk to Brian about that and more when Talkin Ball continues live from the Bill Penney Toyota Service Department on said Monday.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
It's Kentucky Derby season, and Bad Daddy's Burger Bar is celebrating by offering another awesome zone deal. If you haven't tried our chef-inspired expressions of pure burger amazingness, then now is the time to sink your teeth into one of Bad Daddy's award-winning burgers for half price. Our zone deal this week gets you $50 worth of delicious burgers made with premium Angus beef for just $25. Log on 977ESPN.com now and get your Bad Daddy's Burger Bar zone deal before they're gone.
In 1982, Bob Baumhauer introduced Alabama to the Buffalo Wild Wing, and quite frankly, we've never been the same. Back then, it was Wings and Things in Tuscaloosa, but now, 40 years later, after 4 name changes, Baumhauer's Victory Grill is the #1 sports-themed restaurant in the state. Bob's Alabama Hot Chicken is something that has to be tried to believe, plus the new Bam Bam Chicken and the Louisiana-style Go Fish, a whitefish over rice topped with shrimp etouffee. And Baumhauer's is fighting inflation with some new affordable favorites. Visit Baumhauer's on the South Parkway today.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold-certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Hi, my name is Dan Aldridge. I'm here to let you know about the Aldridge Law Firm and the soon-to-be-announced Legal Town Center. I've been practicing law in Alabama since 1984, and I also practice in Tennessee. And I'm from North Alabama, and I'm here to represent you and take care of your legal needs. For many of us, hiring an attorney is not high on the priority list, and maybe a little scary. But it's something that we all need at some point. So by all means, do your homework. And if you need representation for car accident, wrongful death, medical malpractice, nursing home abuse, or estate planning, or any other matter, just give us a call at 256-534-3188. And you can email me at dan That is Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. God bless America.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
The world champs are back. The Braves are out to defend their world championship. And behind Matt Olson, Ronald Acuna, Dansby Swanson, Max Fried, and this loaded 2022 roster, a repeat is within reach.
There goes Ozzie, 2-2 on the way, hit well. Deep center field. Might have ourselves a tie ball game. You betcha.
And we'll bring you every huge moment of the Braves 2022 season right here on the Atlanta Braves Radio Network.
Just got a report of a stall coming out of Decatur, right lane, Hudson Memorial Bridge northbound. Looking at that area, it looks like traffic's moving okay around it. Everything else looks pretty good this morning. One wreck, Beltline and Caradale, no injury. There is a little blockage. I'm sure Decatur PD will move it quickly. Great summer start with overnight or day camp at Camp Chalakee on Lake Guntersville. Kayak, zip line, go on the giant swing or the blob, chalakee.org, or you could just call the Y. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
Download our app today. Just search 97.7 ESPN.
It's water and dust resistant.
That's 977 ESPN. We are 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
And that's it.
This is Chuck Oliver. Listen to me coming up at noon today. Now, back to Talkin Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Welcome back, Talkin Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone, live from Bill Penney Toyota on a Monday, Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., Saturday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Let them service your vehicle. We're hanging out here in the service department, and another busy day for them, another busy day for us, a busy weekend for the Auburn Tigers on the baseball diamond, as well as some recruiting news and notes and transfer portal stuff and all kinds of good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And since 2001, our next guest has covered the Auburn Tigers. He's a big part of the staff over at auburnsports.com, part of the Rivals Network. And he's been good enough to join us this morning on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. It's always great to catch up with our good friend Brian Matthews. Brian, I hope you had a great Mother's Day weekend. We appreciate you for joining us this morning in the Rocket City of Huntsville on 97.7 The Zone's Talkin Ball. You're with Drew and Scott. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me in.
Absolutely. Thank you for taking the time. And an interesting weekend. Auburn with a tough series, but I still felt like, much like against Tennessee, where they nearly were the first team to take a series from the Vols before Kentucky this weekend. Auburn with a hard-fought series against Arkansas. Really good pitching performance on Saturday to even things up. It's a tough one, especially with the injuries to their pitching staff late in the year. On Friday, 11-8 loss, but they win 5-3 Saturday, but come up just a bit short yesterday to drop the series in a 7-4 loss.
Yeah, and I think one of the most important things about Auburn's series against number 1 Tennessee and number 3 Arkansas is that it gets swept.
Right.
And they came into both series on Sunday with the chance to win. And, Joseph Gonzalez has been one of the SEC's best pitchers over the last month. And he just had one of those outings yesterday where he just didn't quite have it and got knocked around a little bit. And that happens. That's baseball. But, Auburn is in position now, 13-11 in the conference. If they can win these last two series against Alabama and at Kentucky, they could potentially win 17 games in the league for the first time since 2010 and host a regional for the first time since 2010. So they've got some big things in front of them if they can take care of business over the next 2 weeks.
Well, what are they going to have to do how are they health-wise coming out of that Arkansas series? I know there was some injury concerns going into the series. How are they coming out of it?
Well, Hayden Mullins, I don't expect him to be back for the regular season. He's been Auburn's Friday night starter, but Mason Barnett stepped in and performed pretty well Friday against Arkansas. Auburn was in that game up 6-2, and then the bullpen sort of fell apart there. So, I think Auburn's okay as far as that goes. I think the biggest thing for this team is they're not a team that can just show up and beat any team in the league. So they've got to go out there and expect to fight and battle and, come up with big clutch plays against Alabama and Kentucky to have a chance to win those series. It's not, Auburn's not a team that just, like Tennessee or Arkansas can be at times, where they can just dominate the series. So, especially Tennessee, of course. So they're going to have to be in the right mindset going into these last 2 weekends.
Yeah, and of course, as we know, we just mentioned Kentucky at home is really tough because they actually did take 2 out of 3 from Tennessee, so that won't be an easy final series for Auburn over in Lexington.
That's right. That was a big weekend for the Wildcats, taking the first 2 from Tennessee. I think the entire SEC was kind of excited to see that. So, that's going to be a real battle, but Auburn's got to take care of Alabama at home this weekend. That's usually a really competitive series, regardless of the record of both teams and regardless of where they're playing. So I would expect the same this weekend at Plainsman Park.
And then if they have success in this series, a success in that final series, is there still a chance they can grab one of those games where they don't have to play in the elimination game, so to speak, the one-game elimination series in the SEC tournament?
Yeah, they got to finish, top 2 in the West. Arkansas's got a nice lead over LSU and Texas A&M, which are 2 games back in second, and Auburn's 1 game behind them in third. So they're going to have to catch both LSU and Texas A&M. The good thing for Auburn is they have series wins over both those programs. So if they can tie them, they would get that number 2 seed, I believe. So that would be big. So, the only issue is LSU is a team that always plays well down the stretch in the SEC, right, traditionally. And then Texas A&M has just been on an absolute roll over the last 3 or 4 weekends. They are really, really playing good baseball. So it's going to be a tough task, but Auburn can do it. And, it starts this weekend against Alabama.
Well, and I'll say this too. There, as you see, Brian, with the standings, there's a log jam. And really, in the last 2 weekends, the only school that's really got no shot, in my opinion, to get to Hoover is Missouri. I don't think they're going to make it, but everybody else pretty much is trying to get one of those top 12 seeds. There's a lot of positioning going on because if you have a good weekend, you can move up 2 or 3 spots.
Yeah, and I mean, you're talking about the defending national champions, Mississippi State, right now. They need one of those good weekends because they're in trouble. They're tied with Kentucky at 9 wins, and just 1 step behind South Carolina and Alabama at 10 wins, and Ole Miss too. So it's going to be a real battle, like you said, for that last spot to get into the tournament, which is always really important if you're going to have any chance of playing in the postseason.
Mm-hmm. And then I know you mentioned the Alabama-Auburn series, and it will be in Plainsman Park. Auburn will have the home field advantage. And they are playing good baseball, even though they did lose 2 out of 3, and they've had the injury to Hayden Mullins. They certainly have been a consistent team. Their offense has been led by Sonny DeShera, who's been unbelievable. Should be a first-team All-SEC type guy. How do you see that series? Alabama has really kind of hit the skid since being 8-5 after beating Tennessee in Game 1 over in Knoxville, and they finally ended the losing streak this weekend by taking the Saturday game against LSU, but they still dropped the series at home with a 12-3 loss yesterday. And Alabama is kind of in desperation mode this week. They have 4 road games and really need to take at least 3 of them. If not, they may be in a position where they could potentially miss Hoover and postseason altogether.
Yeah, and I think when you're playing a team like Alabama, which is, fighting for its life, to speak, right, that first game is really big. If Auburn can go out there and play well and win, that kind of sets the tone for the series. And if Alabama can come to Plainsman Park and win a Friday night, that gives them a lot of confidence and maybe gets their thing turned right around. So I think Friday night can be really big for both teams, and I expect a really hard-fought game there. I also expect Mason Barnett to start again for the second time on Friday. He did filling in for Hayden Mullins there, and Blake Burkhalter was the other pitcher that got injured, hurt his hamstring, tweaked it a little bit against Tennessee. He did not pitch against Arkansas this weekend, but he did warm up, and I think he'll definitely be available, probably for multiple occasions in the Alabama series.
Well, then softball season, put the cap on the regular season. 10th place finish for Mickey Dean and company heading into the SEC tournament. They're going to have to open up with the 7th seed.
Yeah, I'm still pretty high on this Auburn softball team. You know, they did fade a little bit down the stretch here, but this team is full of freshmen and sophomores who are making major contributions, especially a bunch of freshmen in the lineup. And, you know, I'd expect them to be inconsistent, right? But I think the experience they're getting this year, you know, some of the highs and lows they've encountered, I think are going to help them moving forward. I think this is a team that by next year and the following year are going to be capable of competing for a shot in the Women's College World Series. I really am high on the talent they brought in over the last couple classes. And you've got another really good class coming in and another star pitcher for next year. So I think Auburn softball has really turned the corner this year. And I think they're capable of making a run this tournament if they could ever get back going again. So, you know, their pitching's been a little bit banged up. And I think that sort of slowed them the last few weeks, too.
Yeah, it has. I mean, that's hurt Auburn, but I know that they're mainly a team built of freshmen and sophomores, and because basically after the top three, the standings are such a log jam. I know they didn't have a good weekend. They got swept at Tennessee, and Tennessee used that to become the 3rd seed overall in the tournament. But you know, if Auburn had a good weekend and won 2 out of 3 on the road, I think they would have had a case even this year to be a regional host.
Yeah, definitely. That's how close they were. And
yeah, it's razor thin.
Yep. And, you know, you look at the standings, I think, you know, you look at the tournament, and, you know, Auburn's probably not, you know, well, I guess they got a chance to win it, but they've got a chance at least to make a run, I think, in it. I think they're good enough to do that. You know, they've got some girls, if they can, you know, get the bat swinging, they can score, you know, a lot of runs with that lineup. So this will be a good experience for them just to get into it. They are going to be playing in a regional somewhere. So
yes.
This will also be a great experience for this team.
Yeah, I would think that I would think they've got 13 teams that 12 of them. I know Texas A&M's conference record is not real good, 6-18, but They did beat Alabama 2 out of 3, and they're above 500 now. South Carolina is not, so I don't think they're going to get all 13 of them in the regionals as they have in the past. But it looks like 12 of them could. And again, this is an unusual year with the way the rotating schedule, and Alabama and Auburn have not played this year, yet they could meet in the tournament should Auburn win that game.
Yeah, I feel like they should play every year, right? That's just
be
part of it. But it hasn't happened, and maybe it will in the tournament. I don't know. I think if Auburn wins its first series, they play Alabama next. Is that right?
Yes, correct. If they beat Missouri, yes.
Yeah. So if they can do that, that would be great. Love to see it, and good for softball. I think you know, Alabama, of course, is a national power, has been for a while now, and you know Auburn had that dip after I guess 2016-17, but I think they're definitely on their way back.
Mm-hmm. That seems that way.
And as much news as we've had with baseball and softball, it seems like Brian Harsin, as far as recruiting, we just keep seeing a lot of names. Auburn in a lot of on the football side, in for a lot of guys on this recruiting trail. New names keep popping up all over the place.
Yeah, and I guess the biggest recruiting / portal news for Auburn over the last week or so was Daslin Worsham. I think that's how you say it, I hope.
Yes.
He is from Hewitt-Trussville originally. Went to Miami, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. Injuries really limited his playing time there. But from what we've heard, he had a really good spring, was running with the 1s and the 2s. So he is transferred to Auburn, and as a wide receiver that'll help fill a big need there. Certainly help out with the depth for sure, and maybe compete for a starting position right away. And Auburn will get a couple more freshmen here in a couple weeks enrolling. So that's a position where you can see some real movement once fall drills gets underway.
Yeah, and I think we all understand that Auburn's still going to be aggressive in the portal. They're still looking for edge guys. They're still looking for wide receivers. They did get Worsham, but those seem to be the 2 biggest areas of need. And again, there are scholarships available. And Coach Harsin, I know that they've been making the rounds. We had them in the Rocket City at the end of last week with him and Bruce Pearl. So they've made no bones about it that they're looking to add to the roster.
They are. I'd say the 2 positions you mentioned, edge and wide receiver, are the 2 most important needs they still need to address. They could really use a 1 or 2 type receiver. I'm not sure Dadson is that, at least right away. So if that guy's available, they could use somebody like that. And then they've got to have an edge, preferably a guy with at least a couple of years of eligibility left, because both Derek Carr and Toyota are seniors. And after those two, there's only one scholarship edge on the team right now. So they're kind of in dire need there. And they also need some defensive linemen to come in there and be rotational players, and preferably guys with extra eligibility, of course. And, any other pieces they could help fill out would be helpful in some other areas too. I think linebacker they feel really good at. Quarterback they've already addressed. Running back I think they feel good about, especially with Damari Alston coming in here in a couple more weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So really it's just wide receiver, edge, and defensive line that are the 3 biggest keys right now.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
yeah,
safety too. I should mention safety. I'm sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say Damari Alston, he's kind of led the way with that recruiting class since he committed out of the city of Atlanta. He's someone I know that they've got 2 really good backs coming back in Tank Bigsby and Jarquez Hunter, but he's someone that could get on the field and is a talented young man that could play a role next year.
Oh, absolutely. He's going to be there competing right away. And, I thought Sean Jackson had a good spring, the former walk-on.
Yes.
I think he's from Hewitt, too. No, wait.
Yeah, he is. He's from Hewitt. That's right.
Yeah, okay, yeah. And I think he's going to play. And him and the kid from Mobile, his name escapes me at the moment. But, those 2 guys were improved this fall. So this spring. So Damari's going to have to compete with those 2 to see if he can be the number 2 or number 3 guy. Of course, Jarquez Hunter is back. He missed spring with an injury, but should be back here relatively shortly.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Damari does have that opportunity to compete up there. And maybe, if everything goes right, he could be the number 2 or number 3 back. We'll see. But it's going to be really competitive, I think, for those backup spots behind Tank Bigsby.
No doubt. And then this week, I know they've already added Trey Orr, and they've already got a huge piece with Jonai Broom out of the portal as far as 2 huge and literally and figuratively size guys as far as big pieces for Auburn. But they could potentially get another 5-star this week for Bruce Pearl with that 1 scholarship remaining in basketball.
Yeah, Julian Phillips, I believe did you say it was Thursday?
Mm-hmm.
His decision is coming this week. I think it's Auburn, Tennessee, are the main 2 there. I don't know if there's a 3rd school in there or not, but that would be huge if Auburn can land him. He's a guy that's 6'8", but can play the 2 and the 3. Can obviously shoot the 3-pointer pretty well, but a guy who can run the 4, can dribble drive, can do a lot of different things with the basketball would be a special talent there to add to this roster. And, it's pretty clear already that Auburn has built another championship contender, I think, with the roster they have right now. They'd like to add a wing that could shoot the 3, and certainly Julian could be that guy, and they've got some other possibilities out there too. So they're going to add 1 more good piece to this roster, whether it's Julian Phillips or another kid, and they're going to be really good again next year, competing right there at the top of the SEC.
Yeah, it does look that way. They definitely, Auburn basketball, a very high-profile program now, and Bruce Pearl doing an outstanding job, no doubt about that. Well, Brian, great stuff from you as always, giving us an update on Auburn baseball and softball. The softball, tournament will be this week. It's about 2.5 weeks until we get to Hoover and see what happens with baseball. But Butch Thompson's group has put themselves in position, as you said, to be a regional host potentially for the first time in his tenure, the first time since 2010. With this year, they've had an outstanding bounce-back year after so many tough injuries a year ago where they did not reach postseason. But they certainly are headed that way this time, and one of the best teams in the SEC. As usual, the SEC leading the way baseball-wise in America. But we appreciate the time and the insight. Let everybody know how to connect with you guys over at Auburn Sports.
I appreciate that, and we're going to be busy this week again with portaling and the recruiting and the baseball and softball and all that good stuff. Right there at auburnsports.com, you can sign up online for a free trial. You can also follow me on Twitter at BMattAU, and later today we're going to get together for a podcast called The Rundown, which you can always check out on iTunes and anywhere else you get the podcast.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
Hey, I appreciate you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks. That's Brian Matthews talking a little Auburn athletics. Let's get a break in. When we come back, more Talking Ball live from Bill Penney Toyota Service Department on a Monday.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Just got a report of a stall coming out of Decatur, right lane, Hudson Memorial Bridge northbound. Looking at that area, it looks like traffic's moving okay around it. Everything else looks pretty good this morning. One wreck, Beltline and Caradale, no injury. There is a little blockage. I'm sure Decatur PD will move it quickly. Great summer start with overnight or day camp at Camp Chalakee on Lake Guntersville. Kayak, zip line, go on the Giant Swing or the Blob, chalakee.org, or you could just call the Y. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
I'm James Lomax, and I'm running to be your state representative. I'm running because the stakes have never been higher. I was raised here. I attended Grissom High School in UAH, and now my wife Elizabeth and I are building a family here. Through my career in commercial real estate, I've seen firsthand the challenges facing our area, but also the unique opportunities that lay ahead. As your state representative, I will work with other leaders to keep our economy on track while reeling in new industries and being a champion for existing businesses. I'll make sure that we have the best schools in our state and that we get the fair share of road funding, and that Redstone Arsenal is promoted. I believe first and foremost that life begins at conception and it must be protected. With fresh, conservative leadership, I'll stand up and fight against a toxic, cancel culture-based agenda, and I'll fight for a better tomorrow in Alabama. I'm James Lomax, and I ask for your vote in the Republican primary on May 24th. Paid for by Friends of James Lomax, P.O. Box 875, Huntsville, Alabama 35804.
T-minus 3, 2, 1, Trash Panda Nation, ignite the fun, let's rock it.
The Trash Pandas are back for 6 games at Toyota Field starting Tuesday, May 24th against the Tennessee Smokies. The week's promotions include an Izzy Wilson bobblehead giveaway on Tuesday, Armed Forces Night on Thursday, and a Trash Pandas camo cap giveaway on Sunday. Get your tickets for all the fun now at TrashPandasBaseball.com.
Let's rock it.
DQ presents. Picture this. You stand before the awe-inspiring new signature stack burger menu at DQ and your mouth wonders, where have you been all my life? That's 5 taste bud tempting cheeseburgers with 100% real seasoned beef. You peek at the loaded A1 stack burger with 2 premium sauces. Then the flamethrower stack burger with tongue-tingling jalapeno bacon. Then you realize moments like these are exactly why we have the DQ signature stack burger menu. DQ. Happy tastes good. Get it delivered at DQ.com.
If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
Did you know that your car, truck, or SUV may be worth over 30 or 40% more than it was last year? It's true. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, and we'd love your trade-in for a personalized custom factory order on a 2022 Explorer, Expedition, Ranger, or F-150. You'll get exactly the color and options you want, and Woody Anderson Ford will save you 5% off MSRP, plus you'll get any additional Ford factory rebates. Or if you need a new ride today, choose a Ford Blue Advantage certified pre-owned vehicle. We have over 100 to choose from. Our Ford Gold certified or low mileage, gently used vehicles with great warranties. They've passed a 172-point inspection by certified technicians, come with our 24-hour roadside assistance, plus a full tank of gas and a fresh oil change. At Woody Anderson Ford, whether it's a new order or a pre-owned, we promise to always do the right thing. Corner of George and Sparkman, hope to see you soon.
You want the right specialist for your recovery. At SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, we understand every body is different. Your muscles and bones are unique, as is your body. Our SportsMed specialists offer innovative treatments and minimally invasive procedures, allowing you to quickly return to the life you love. Locations in Huntsville, Madison, Athens, and Decatur, and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com. Improving performance, improving lives.
Got a wreck on Mountain Park off Sparkman. That's at Brett Circle. That one's reported with possible injuries. And we got one eastbound on Gordon Terry at Whitlow in Decatur, also reported with possible injuries. Officers, construction workers, and first responders put their lives on the line every time they step on the roadway. Why not make it safer for them? Move over. It's the law. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
This segment of Talkin Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
Indeed, welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond with you until 9 a.m. on this Monday morning. Welcome back in, and we do want to hear from you as you make your way into work, into school, wherever you may be headed. 256-576-4977. That is the number 2, the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. You can join the show and be a part of all of the fun here on this Monday morning. And other news and notes that kind of going around a little bit. 24/7 Sports has given us a look at some of the contenders in college football and said, hey, these are some of the biggest worries that if you are looking at your team going into the fall, this is where you want to look at. And they labeled Georgia's biggest worry as that Georgia's bound to take a step back defensively. Right or wrong there, that Georgia will take a step back defensively?
Well, they have to. I mean, they lost so much talent on their front seven. They lost so many great defensive linemen, led by Jordan Davis, who was a first-team All-American, led by the Butkus Award winner, Nakobe Dean, third-round pick of the Steel for the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, Quay Walker also gone. Channing Tindall. They lost a lot of talent. Now, are they still going to be a good defense? Yes, I expect them to still be good. Of course, they did lose Dan Lanning, but they still have Will Muschamp, who has a lot of experience. They've got Kirby Smart, who's a defensive guy. They've recruited very well. So, again, they're going to be good, but you have to understand Alabama's taken steps back before and had to retool. Still been good defensively, but maybe not quite, to the standard that they had set at times. So I still think Georgia's going to have a potential top 10, top 15 defense, but I don't think it'll be the group that we saw this past year. They do have Nolan Smith back, which was big to get him back as far as a pass rusher. But, again, Georgia lost a lot of guys. Trayvon Walker, the number 1 pick in the draft, he's gone as well. So, again, they are going to have to retool, no doubt about it. But, I think they're capable of doing so. But I do think that they're not going to be up to what we saw last year, which was the best defense of the Kirby Smart era, and really the reason they won the national championship. I understand offensively they ran the ball well, and Stetson Bennett stepped up in some big moments. But defensively, that's what put the game away against Alabama, and that's what their team was defined by, was that defense last year, which is one of the best in college football history.
Now, does that put more pressure on Stetson Bennett to have to perform because he has been the benefactor of said defense being so good that Stetson Bennett didn't really have to take over a game, rely on him to win the game? Are we going to have to rely on him more to win games for Georgia this year?
No, I don't think the formula will change for Georgia. I still think they're going to run the football. McIntosh is back, who has played a lot of football for them. I think they've got talent in that running back room that they've recruited well. I mean, that's one position where Kirby Smart and his coaching staff have done a really good job since he's gotten there of developing talent and getting them to the NFL. And so I think without a doubt that they'll still be good in the running back room. I still think James Brooks is a huge loss, James Cook, Cook, the running back, because he's an outstanding player, very versatile. I've told you, I know he went in the third round, about where his projection was. I still think he's a steal for Buffalo. I think he's an outstanding player because he can do so many things. He can return kickoffs. He can catch the football. He can run the football. He made a huge explosive run against Alabama in the national championship game to spark them. I think Zeus White was a solid running back who had a really nice career. I still felt like, James Cook his career, kind of marched on, that he became the bigger weapon and the outstanding complement to him. I still think both of them can have nice pro careers, but I really like James Cook. I think he's underrated, and so it's going to be interesting. McIntosh will probably take that role over.
Right.
He did some of that kickoff return wise and as a receiver and runner at times in the place of Cook. So I think that'll probably be as close to a seamless transition as you can hope for, because I think McIntosh has kind of been underrated in his career. What's going to be interesting, though, is, are they going to do it by committee, or who's going to be the main bell cow of the running game? Really, it was Zeus White for the last 2 to 3 years. Who's going to take that role going into this season?
Clemson. They list Clemson on here, and we don't know. They say we don't know if the offense is improved. What does Clemson have to do to improve that offense to get back to being, I guess you could say, a contender? I mean, they were not really a contender this year when it came to the college football playoffs.
Well, no, they weren't. They took a huge step back. Their offense, with all the losses, to the draft and things of that nature, and really Justin Ross not being himself due to the spine situation and then the foot. He played with a bad foot most of the year, so he wasn't himself. And DJ Uiagalelei was not consistent. I mean, I do think a lot of the problem, too, is the offensive line. I think not having a quarterback, a generational quarterback like a Trevor Lawrence, like a Deshaun Watson, certainly with the kind of athleticism those two guys had, hurt them. I know Uiagalelei is a good athlete, but he's not the same kind of passer and slash runner, like almost a dual threat like those two are. To me, watching DJ, he just doesn't have anything but a fastball. And I think last year his supporting cast wasn't as good. When you saw him against Notre Dame the year before in the 2020 season that was affected by the pandemic, but still they ended up playing a season. When you saw him having to come in, for those couple of games against for Trevor Lawrence when Trevor Lawrence was injured and he played so well, they had a different set of receivers, a different offensive line. They had some better talent around him, so he played it a little bit better. But I just thought last year when you watched him, he didn't look comfortable. His supporting cast was okay, not great. And, again, they had trouble replacing Travis Etienne and some of the receivers that had departed. It just was one of those things where, I think it was a combination of things. They lost a lot of talent to the NFL, and Dabo finally started losing assistant coaches. He lost Jeff Scott, and then now they've lost Tony Elliott. But I think the loss of Jeff Scott has affected the passing game. I'm not sure the quarterback play or the wide receiver play has been quite as good since he certainly moved on to be the head coach of South Florida. And then it's natural. I mean, you start losing coaches, your program has to be kind of rebuilt, and eventually you hit a kind of a bump in the road. But the thing that with the Alabama fans need to just take solace in and cherish is a bump in the road for Nick Saban is maybe missing the playoff one year or not reaching the national championship game or losing in the national championship game. It's a lot less a bump in the road than it is for a team like Clemson who, ends up completely missing the playoffs. Still goes to a bowl game, but doesn't have the kind of season you're looking for. Now, we'll see how Georgia defends their title, but, again, this is the first time they've had to be the hunted, and everybody's going to circle the game on the schedule. So we'll see if Kendall Milton, McIntosh, and all those guys can handle it. It does help that you do have a veteran quarterback in Stetson Bennett who's been through the fire, and maybe the offense, especially with Brock Bowers, the freak show.
Yeah.
Let's see if their offense can maybe help be potent enough to and experienced enough to maybe help bring that defense along.
All right. So those are Georgia and Clemson's biggest worries. Alabama and Texas A&M made the list. What are the Tide and Aggies' biggest worries? will fill you in to kick off hour number 2 and more live from Bill Penney Toyota on a Monday. You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penney Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penney perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penney Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penney Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPenneyToyota.com. Bill Penney's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
What's better than Valley Equipment Rental? 2 Valley Equipment Rentals, and that's just what we have now. The original on the South Memorial Parkway between Drake and Airport Road, and their second location on North Memorial Parkway just north of Winchester Road. Valley Equipment is locally owned and has more skid steers, excavators, and lifts than anyone in the area, plus all the small tools that you need to get the job done like a pro. And if you are a pro, you need to check out the new North location now because Valley Equipment has what you need. Learn more at valleyequipmentrents.com.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Got a couple of new injury wrecks. 231 and Monroe Road reported with injuries. Tony and Old Railroad Bed also reported as an injury type. They were already working one with injuries on Mountain Park at Brett Circle. That's off Sparkman. And we had one in Decatur trying to clear Gordon Terry eastbound at Whitlow. May still be causing some problems. Snelling has immediate need for a customer service rep with warehouse experience and solid computer skills. Huntsville.snelling.com. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emily Owen. For this Monday, expect plenty of sunshine, high temperatures topping out in the lower 80s for the afternoon. For your Monday night, we'll see a clear sky, low temperatures falling into the lower 60s for the overnight. For your Tuesday, we'll see another day full of sunshine, high temperatures in the upper 80s. We'll see rain heading into the weekend. I'm meteorologist Emily Owen on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Heads up, sports bettors. Right now you can try VSiN All Access free for 30 days with no credit card required. Visit vsin.com/free month to sign up now.
NBA playoffs continuing tonight. The Bucks up 2-1 over the Celtics. Milwaukee a 1-point home favorite in Game 4. The over-under at 212. Later, the Grizzlies down 2-1 at the Warriors. Memphis a 10-point underdog, 224.5 total. Ja Morant likely out with a knee injury. Stanley Cup playoffs. The Panthers -170 at the Capitals at +150. 6.5 total in Game 4. The Penguins slight underdogs at -105 against the Rangers at -115. 6 the set total. Flames -160 at the Stars at +135. Over-under at 5.5, and the Avalanche -250 at the Predators at +210, 6.5 total.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com. Welcome to Talkin Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
And with that, we do say welcome back to Hour 2 of Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Welcome back. We are live on this Monday from Bill Penney Toyota, sitting out here in the service department. And we are getting our week started off in fine fashion. And they can start your week off without any of those headaches as far as your vehicle service needs go. Get on out here at Bill Penney Toyota, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Saturdays is how they can service your vehicle needs.
And we had a good friend of the show, Freddie Kirby, text me as we were in the hour. He was talking about Clemson, which was our conversation, which we were talking about them retooling. And now we were just talking about the offense, but defensively, you had a guy like Brent Venables in place for over a decade.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, he's going to Oklahoma to be head coach. Now you've got changes defensively. and defense had basically had been such a bell cow for them, and with the consistency there, especially with the staff, and then Todd Bates leaves to go with him and coach the defensive line. So going to be a different defensive staff as well for Clemson. Going to be interesting to see. And Dabo, what he basically did to retool his staff was, just promote from within.
I was going to say he's done a lot of promoting.
Yeah, he has.
And you look at Clemson. Dabo has been resistant to
the transfer portal,
NIL, and a lot of things, saying that we're going to do it our way. It's worked. We've won titles. This is the way we want to do it. Eventually, though, if Clemson, and when I say struggle, if they have a year like they had last year, which, was enough to get them to the ACC title game, I believe, right?
No, they did not play in it last year.
Because it was Pitt
and Wake Forest, I believe.
So if they don't make it to the ACC title game this year, Dabo's not in trouble. Dabo's not going to – the one heat that Dabo will face is he's going to have to adapt to the transfer portal.
Well,
correct?
I would think so. Eventually you're going to have to add some guys when you have deficiencies in your roster. Nick Saban doesn't like it either, but you have to adapt to it. And you have to adapt or either you die. And so that's what you have to change. You have to evolve. And Dabo's going to have to do that. And, of course, Clemson's going to have to, get into the NIL business. And I think they will. You're never going to try to keep your players from, benefiting. DJ Uiagalelei is.
Right.
He got a lot of NIL deals before the season. I wonder if some of them want their money back because, he didn't exactly tear it up. Though if you look at some of these, my favorite thing, these mock drafts in the NFL, some of them still have him going in the top 10.
That's because of his measurables right now. His size
and maybe he's going to play much better
of
this year now that he's had a year to get himself acclimated as a full-time starter. To be honest with you, Clemson's going to be fascinating to me because – now that they have lost so many coaches in the last 3 years and they've lost the meat of their offensive coaching staff and now losing a Stonewall Jackson type guy in Brent Venables that really helped Dabo Swinney take his program to an elite level, I'm going to be fascinated to see how good Clemson is going forward because right now the ACC is getting tougher because of the Mario Cristobal hire at Miami. They're going to be more talented, Scott. We'll see how good they are because, again, I think Mario is still growing as a head coach. Had some bright moments at Oregon, but sometimes some inconsistency. But I do think it was a good hire for the Canes. He's a Miami guy to the core. He should be able to recruit very well there. And then, you've seen what Dave Clawson did at Wake Forest last year. That's pretty amazing, what kind of team they had. I think there was a lot of high expectations there. But the funny thing is the two best teams in that league were supposed to be Clemson and North Carolina. Both of them underachieved. Let's see what Mac Brown can do bringing in Gene Chizik back to be, his defensive coordinator and see if they can get more sound on that side of the football.
All right, we continue on with the discussion of maybe – the biggest question mark or concern among the contenders. They do list Texas A&M among those that could contend, but they label it as the defensive unit has to replace veterans. Texas A&M, yes, Haynes, we talk about the quarterback, Haynes King, presumably number one, all that fun stuff. But defensively, Texas A&M, we forget, ranked number 3 last year in total defense in the SEC. In 2020, they were number 1 in total defense. Jimbo Fisher's defense has improved there at Texas A&M. But what can Texas A&M do defensively this year? Can they stay up there? Is that defense the biggest concern for Texas A&M?
Well, I think their football program is a concern. I think they've got to get more consistent offensively, get better quarterback play, and defensively, yes, there's concern because you lost Mike Elko. He took the head coaching job at Duke. He's gone, and you bring in DJ Durkin, who did a nice job at Ole Miss. But I think it's interesting. You lose your supposedly elite defensive coordinator, and every defensive lineman in America is coming to Texas A&M for some reason. after DeMarvin Leal was coached into a third-round draft choice. So I just think that's interesting. I do think A&M has been good on defense. We'll see if DJ Durkin can keep that going.
Right.
He's considered an outstanding defensive mind. I don't think there's any question about that. I think he's very good. And so we'll see. I mean, I think overall when you look at it, I think A&M, that's probably going to be the key is with all this young talent on their defensive line, how quickly do they gel? How quickly do they replace some of the guys they lost in the front seven from a production standpoint? And is Haynes King the real deal? Because certainly Zach Calzada got out of there quickly. Haynes King thought to be the starting quarterback. And so we'll see. I mean, and don't forget, I know A-Chain's a talented player, but Isaiah Spiller made a lot of plays for them. And
That's true.
He and Werdemeyer have gone on to the NFL. Werdemeyer, the outstanding tight end. Baylor Cupp, who was thought at one time to be a future star at tight end for them, also went into the portal and transferred to Texas Tech, the Red Raiders, in the Big 12. And so that's going to be interesting as well. So I'm going to be really interested to see how good this Texas A&M team is because, they're going to have a lot of hype going into the year because of the recruiting class. Let's see if they have the chemistry and if they've managed the roster well enough for A&M to be a truly elite team, or are we going to see them do the usual besides the COVID year, and that's lose 3 or 4 games.
All right. Alabama also on this list, as you might expect. And the question mark they label with Alabama is, and it's entitled, Can We Take a Deeper Look at the Offensive Line Issues?
Well, I mean, that's the biggest key for the team. I mean, everybody is, going to talk about that since what happened in the spring, and because last year they had issues on the right side, and they lost a first-round draft choice at left tackle in Evan Neal. So, again, now you're having to replace both tackles.
Right.
And so there is going to be questions. There's no doubt about it. They had starters out for spring that weren't there. How are they going to look when they put all the pieces together? But still, they do have elite pieces at the skill spots. I think Bryce Young's the best quarterback in college football. I think that they have a potential to have a really good receiving core, and we'll have to see, how the situation plays out, with Jordan Addison, and that's in the transfer portal. That I haven't heard anything new on that as far as when he's going to make a final decision on what school he's going to head to. If Alabama is still heavily in the mix, we'll see. We haven't heard that he's going to take any visits. We know he was out there in Southern California. I'm sure he may have matriculated to USC, but we also know that he threw with Bryce Young, so we will see. But again, that's going to be interesting to see, how the wide receiver core plays itself out. They have the talent already, I think, with Tyler Harrell, Jermaine Burton. You look at JoJo Earl, if he can be a little more consistent, and then they'll have Ja'Cory Brooks back from injury as well. For a lot of what it is with Alabama is getting the injured guys back.
Okay.
Because, again, they had so many guys miss spring that were having to, get healthy, including a couple of running backs, Jace McClellan and Roy Dale Williams, who could make plays for you as well. So I don't think we've seen the entirety of what that Alabama offense can be. I still think they have a lot of pieces to the puzzle that they're going to add in the fall that could make a big difference. So we'll see. But I still like Alabama's answers to the questions a lot better than others.
All right, 256-576-4977. What do you see as some of the biggest concerns for maybe your team's title contention coming in to fall camp? We've got several months. The next big stop that we'll get to is SEC Media Days in July. That'll be the next big conversation point, and then after that it'll be fall camp. So we say there's a long time, but it's really not that long before we actually get into everything. The start of the show, we talked about name, image, and likeness. We talked about the fact that today's the day that we expect the rubber stamp to be put on the crackdown as far as name, image, and likeness goes, as far as boosters paying recruits and all that fun stuff. Well, you know what? A lot of people spoke out and said, hey, this needs to be stopped. This needs to be cracked down. That was one side. The other side is the boosters now are starting to come out, and some of these agents are starting to come out saying, hey, bring it on. I dare you. I dare you to crack down. I dare you to bring it on. And one agent was quoted in an article, I believe this was Ross Dellinger, or The Athletic actually did this. These were his words to the NCAA, basically. He says, I think it's adorable that the NCAA is acting as if they're going to crack down on anything. That was coming from one agent. Another agent said, the moment they come to try to interfere with one of my clients' deals, the next day is the moment they get hit with an antitrust lawsuit. They're saying there's a whole class of people who can't participate in the market for athletes' NIL rights, that they'd be like saying red-haired people can't buy meat. That's antitrust. So the agents now are responding to all of this stuff that's going on and basically have said there's a line now drawn in the sand. And
look,
you come for my clients' monies, I'm coming for you.
Well, and agents are such, scrupulous people. They're such high-quality individuals, most of them. A lot of them are scumbags. But anyway, I'll just say this, look, they're not going to mess with the kids' money now. It's trying to streamline the process to keep the boosters out. Doesn't even really have anything to do with the agents. The agents are still going to have clients. They're still going to represent people. They're still going to try to help them get deals. But the deal shouldn't be, I need you $850,000 to sign with Texas A&M on signing day. So shut up and sit down, okay, morons. I mean, I love how these agents like to flap their trap like they're the most important thing in the world. But again, it's stupidity, and like I say, you can't be having guys getting deals when they're coming out of high school. Okay, that's what this is about. This is not about, Bryce Young. This is not about CJ
CJ
Stroud at Ohio State. It's not about those kind of guys. It's not about the Will Andersons. It's not about the stars in college football that are going to be first-team All-Americans next year. This is not what that's about. This is about the high school player and the slush funds and things of that nature. That's what they're trying to streamline. They're not trying to affect the income of any collegiate athlete that's starting to benefit on name, image, and likeness. They're not going to touch that money. So these agents that are bloviating and pontificating and flapping their gums, just relax. That's not what they're coming for.
All right. I just thought that was kind of interesting. 256-576-4977. That is the number to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. You can get in on the conversation on this Monday morning, and we want to hear from you as we kind of move along on this Monday. There was plenty of high school baseball and high school soccer, high school track, softball, all that kind of fun stuff going on over the weekend. And the state baseball semifinals are all set. And if you want to get on out, there's going to be some good local matchups going on here, especially in the baseball semifinals, because in Class 5A, you're going to get
a rematch.
Madison Academy and Russellville in one semifinal action there. That's going to be in Class 5A. In Class 6A, I believe, we still have a local matchup, and that is Hartselle and Hazel Green.
Yep, Hazel Green will travel to Hartselle.
In Class 6A. In Class 2A, Decatur Heritage and Mars Hill Bible are going to face off against each other. In Class 1A, Lindsay Lane and Donahue are going to meet. So some good baseball semifinals.
Yeah, no doubt. A lot of local teams still alive. We're very blessed in that regard to have a lot of great baseball in our area. A couple of tough losses, this weekend for Bob Jones, who was swept over at Vestavia Hills but had an amazing year, amazing run under Jared Smith. And then Johnny Johnson joined us from James Clemens. And, man, they had an epic comeback from down 5-1 to win 6-5 on a walk-off in Game 1 against the Hewitt-Trussville Huskies, and then unfortunately came up short the next two games, 3-0 and 8-0. So Hewitt-Trussville will advance in an all-Birmingham 7A semifinal against Vestavia Hills. So, but it was still a great run for both Bob Jones and James Clemens. James Clemens, basically for the second time in the history of their program, winning a playoff series and then just being one win away from reaching the semifinals. So Coach Johnson definitely has that program going in the right direction over there. And it was my first trip over to James Clemens baseball facilities.
Yes.
Went over there on Friday to catch some of that action. It was a lot of great action over there, good crowd. Hewitt brought a lot of people. James Clemens was very well represented, and they had to dodge the rain, but certainly were able to get that series in, and it concluded on Saturday afternoon.
Yep, and then Madison Academy, that's going to be that 6A series, though, with Hartzell and Hazel Green.
Yeah.
That can be a fun series.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Mitchell Wright, the son of Roger Wright's done a great job taking over for Frankie Perez. It's been a seamless transition there. That program is very good. But, of course, they got to slay the dragon known as Hartzell. Hartzell was robbed. Yes, they were robbed last year of the 6A state championship against Faith Academy. And they've been, I think, on a mission all year. And we know Coach Booth, William Booth, overcoming cancer. And he just, went into the Hall of Fame as well. Over there in Morgan County, so which is a great honor, and he's as good a baseball coach as this state's ever seen, the all-time winningest coach, and certainly Hartzell's got a lot of talent in their program, and really, that should be a heck of a series, a heck of an atmosphere over at Hartzell starting on Friday.
All right, let's get our break in because when we come back, we're going to talk softball. We're going to talk college softball. The SEC tournament bracket is out. Where does everybody land? Where did Alabama land? We'll let you know when we return.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Got a couple of new injury wrecks. 231 and Monroe Road reported with injuries. Tony and Old Railroad Bed also reported as an injury type. They were already working one with injuries on Mountain Park at Brett Circle. That's off Sparkman. And we had one in Decatur trying to clear Gordon Terry eastbound at Whitlow. May still be causing some problems. Snelling has immediate need for a customer service rep with warehouse experience and solid computer skills. Huntsville.snelling.com. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
It's Kentucky Derby season, and Bad Daddy's Burger Bar is celebrating by offering another awesome zone deal. If you haven't tried our chef-inspired expressions of pure burger amazingness, then now is the time to sink your teeth into one of Bad Daddy's award-winning burgers for half price. Our zone deal this week gets you $50 worth of delicious burgers made with premium Angus beef for just $25. Log on 977ESPN.com now and get your Bad Daddy's Burger Bar zone deal before they're gone.
Hey y'all, this is your girl Cheryl Underwood, and I want to tell you something. My digestive system used to make me feel sluggish, but those days are over. Now I feel great. That's because I increased my fiber intake with the Metamucil 2-week challenge, and I'm still hooked. I just took Metamucil every day for 14 days, and it's really that easy. Metamucil traps and removes the waste that weighs you down, so you feel lighter and more energetic. Now I never want to go back to that heavy feeling. Are you ready for the Metamucil 2-week challenge? For a coupon and daily support, sign up at Metamucil.com today.
The Braves are back, and they're on a mission to defend the East, defend the National League pennant, and defend their world title.
Fly ball hit to deep center field, retreating his fifth, at the track, at the wall, she's gone!
Tomorrow night, Truist Park comes alive for a huge interleague matchup as Adam Duvall and your Atlanta Braves take on the Boston Red Sox. Braves Radio's on the air at 6:05 Eastern, 5:05 Central on the Braves Radio Network.
If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penney Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penney perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penney Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penney Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPenneyToyota.com. Bill Penney's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Hey, North Alabama, this is Chuck Oliver. We've got college football all over the place, and we wouldn't have it any other way.
Where would this college be without football?
Listen to me weekdays at noon on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Eli Gold, voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide. Now more of Talkin Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond on your home for Crimson Tide Sports 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Roll Tide.
Welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Theisen, Drew DeArmond hanging out until 9 a.m., just a little over 30 minutes from now. We are here at the Bill Penney Toyota Service Department Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. They'll service your vehicle. We'll have a good time. They'll have a good time, and they'll take care of all your service needs. And the SEC softball tournament bracket came out over the weekend. We know where everybody is slotted to play. Arkansas will be your number 1 seed. Alabama getting the number 2 seed.
Yeah, they are. Alabama coming off of I thought it was a high-level series. Missouri had been playing very well. I think they'd won about 7 games in a row coming in the SEC, and were a hot team. And they won the game on Friday 3-2, and it was just an 8-inning affair. Alabama couldn't quite get the big hit to get that win, but they did get some big hits going forward to win back-to-back games over the Missouri Tigers and secure that number 2 seed. As we said, I believe they won back-to-back games by an identical 3-1 score. So Alabama able to get a big 3-run homer yesterday from Ashley Prongi that was really interesting. It was almost a great play by the right fielder at Mizzou, but just barely getting over the wall. It was hard to tell on the replay, but it was still some outstanding high-level softball. I thought Montana Fowles was outstanding in the circle. I thought an underrated part of it was Alex Salter and her 4 innings. As she gave them 4 good innings on Saturday. But we're going to talk some Alabama softball and SEC tournament softball with a guy that knows it all backwards and forwards in the SEC and for Alabama. Does a great job for their radio network on 97.5 and also does some work for ESPN3 as well. We always enjoy catching up with our next guest, and that's Gray Robertson, and he's joining us now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Gray, you're with Drew and Scott here in Huntsville once again. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Thank you for saying I know it all with the SEC, but I'm not sure that's possible this year. This year has been one of the craziest seasons ever.
It really has. We actually talked some Auburn softball in the first hour with Brian Matthews, and because of the log jam in the standings, because, the top 3 have pretty much separated themselves with Arkansas, Alabama, and Tennessee. It's pretty much everyone else is in a log jam. Auburn was in position going into the weekend, going to Knoxville. If they had swept or won 2 out of 3, they would have been probably looking at a good shot to host a regional, yet they go 0-3, they get swept, and they plummet down the standings to 10. They're still a very, very strong 10 seed, but now they take on Missouri in that 7-10 game, and of course that winner will get Alabama.
Yeah, I certainly Auburn hurt themselves trying to host a regional. It would have been real tough because their non-conference strength of schedule is outside the top 200, and that would have made it a really big uphill battle. I don't even know if they win the SEC tournament if they would get a top 16 seed. But they've got so much talent. They play with so much power. And Maddie Penta, if she can pitch well, this is a Missouri pitching staff that they will face that, as we saw this past weekend, and the numbers back up, they do have some issues allowing the long ball. So that feels like a matchup perhaps that Auburn could take advantage of. But Auburn-Missouri is one of many matchups I'm really excited to see when we get to Gainesville.
Yeah, then that's the thing. This year's tournament is in Gainesville. Florida comes in 13-11 on the year. What other ones do excite you?
Well, Ole Miss and Georgia just played.
Yeah.
They're playing again. which, it was an interesting series in Athens, but I think the most interesting part of that to me is what happens next. So you've got Arkansas waiting in the wings. You've got a Hogs team that will either face Ole Miss, who just took 2 out of 3 from Tennessee and 2 out of 3 from Georgia on the road, or a Georgia team that has one of the most explosive offenses in the conference. That, to me, that 1 versus 8 or 9 matchup, potentially on Thursday, could go any which way. That feels like a potential offensive fireworks showcase. So I'm really excited about that one. And then I think, interestingly, Texas A&M has a really good draw as the 12 seed to make a run. They play South Carolina, and then next would be Florida. Yes, Florida is hosting, but the Gators just lost at home to Florida Gulf Coast, a game where they didn't have a hit until the 6th or 7th inning. And then if A&M wins that one, you take on a Kentucky team that just lost to South Carolina, and that was the Gamecocks' 3rd win of SEC play all year. So actually, A&M's got a pretty okay road. It's a road where I can see them making a run to perhaps the semifinals if they get good enough pitching.
Yeah, and then Gray, it's interesting too because this is once again a meat grinder of a league. South Carolina is going to have to do some damage. They got to get to at least 500, you would think, right, to get a regional bid, and for all 13 of them to reach postseason. Right. Yes. So that would require winning the tournament, basically. Yeah.
which is not going to happen. South Carolina. It's been a disappointing year. They have some of the pieces, but it hasn't come together whatsoever, and I think it says a lot about where that team mentally is. After beating Kentucky, they were not even remotely on the same field the next 2 games. I think it was 11-1 and 13-5. I don't have it in front of me.
Right.
They just didn't have it this year, and it's really it's disappointing because they missed the tournament last year somewhat surprisingly, and I really thought they would come back with a vengeance, but they lost 2 of their best bats in the offseason to graduation, and sometimes it's just too much to overcome.
Mm-hmm. Alabama finishes 16-8 this regular season in the SEC. Arkansas wins the league by 3 games, 19-5. We knew Arkansas would be good. They were really building a lot of momentum last year. We knew this year they had a chance to be good. Are you more surprised that Arkansas won the league by 3 games or that Alabama maybe struggled a little bit at times?
I'm definitely more surprised at where Arkansas finished. I thought this year, and that's, no dig at Courtney Deifel in that program. They had a great season, but the way this year was trending, I thought our league champion would be what Alabama's record is, 16-8. But the Hogs took care of business. And, what really sticks out is that road sweep at Florida. I think also what comes into play with what we were expecting from Arkansas in the preseason is Shanice Dells. We were not expecting her, the transfer from Tulsa, to come in and be as dynamic and effective as she was. She finishes 9-1 in conference play, ERA under 2. She was fantastic. Literally learned to pitch in the middle of the year in 1 day, and it might be her filthiest pitch, working a drop that has some disgusting movement down in the zone. She came in and really gave Mary Half a break in conference play because it felt like Half in the non-conference was having to do everything, and she wasn't pitching all that well. But Dels came on with a really good arm in the circle, and that offense top to bottom has got so much power. Somebody different is stepping up every single game, and that, to me, makes them a more viable NCAA tournament threat. Last year, Braxton Burnside, Danielle Gibson, you had Lenny Malkin. They could all hit for power, but this year you've got basically everybody 1 through 9 hitting for power but also for average, and that adjustment and consistency on the offensive end makes me think that they can truly make a run to OKC this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then you look at this Alabama team going into the weekend against Mizzou. The struggles were, they were with runners in scoring position. They were 3 for their last 30 some odd. And I know after the game on Friday, you could I was reading Coach Murphy's comments. You could tell he was frustrated because they had not been able to get the big hit. They finally do with Abby Dorr and then Ashley Prongi for the last 2 games on Saturday and Sunday. And then Fouts was really good. After that opening inning home run on Friday, she really was, I thought, not untouchable, but really, really, really high level the rest of the weekend.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, look at the line for Montana. 17 and 2/3 innings. She gave up 3 earned runs. 2 of them were on a ball out to center field that bounced off of the center fielder's glove over the wall for a home run. So you say that's a catch, then you've got 1 earned run allowed in 17 and 2/3. Montana was fantastic the entire weekend, and she was using every single pitch in the arsenal. The rise was great in game 1. Her curve was really good in game 1 and 2, and in game 3 she utilized her drop, and we saw more balls put in play, and the defense picked her up. I thought that Alex Salter was great, as we talked about a little bit ago. One of the things that Tom Canterbury and I were wondering going into that second game was, okay, Alex Salter, can she throw some of the big innings you might need her to throw when we get into the postseason? Because there was a little bit of evidence of it, but today as in Saturday, would have been a really good test. And I thought she proved that she can come in and face a good offense 1 or 2 times through and be effective. That was a really good sign for Alabama, especially with Lexi Kilfoyle still dealing with some injury situations. And then as for the timely hitting, you would have loved for the situational stats and averages to be better, but with Montana pitching the way she was, you really only needed 1 in in games 2 and 3. Alabama found a way to get those. And then, the other side of that coin, situational pitching. Montana and Alex Salter were at their best in the toughest situations all weekend long. And the number that sticks out to me, I know a lot of Missouri fans were really upset about the home run call, but in my mind, if you want to win that series, you cannot go 0 for 20 with runners in scoring position in all 3 games combined. I thought Alabama's pitchers did a great job really bearing down when the moments got tough. And as we always talk about, when you get in the postseason, literally every moment is tough. You are fighting for your season from the first pitch on, from here on out. And I think that this weekend showed a lot of what this team is made of, and in particular what these pitchers are made of.
What does Alabama have to do then to solve the mystery of the rest of the SEC to win this tournament?
Oh, that's a gret question. Last night I was trying to fill out a bracket, and halfway through I was like, what am I doing? This is a pointless exercise. I think you just take it 1 pitch at a time. Watch film, do your thing, have a plan against every pitcher that you face. If it's Missouri that you're going to face on Thursday, well, congratulations. You don't really have to change the game plan because you just saw them offensively anyway, and I would assume it would be Krings or Weber throwing in that game. If you face Auburn, well, you've got experience from last year that you can draw upon. And then after that, it's all about making quick adjustments, having a really good plan going in as pitchers against the opposing offense, and trying to do as much as you can to have an extended stay in Gainesville. I will say I feel like with the tournament resume, Alabama is pretty securely locked in to host a super regional. And I know that, that can vary where they are in the seeding, depending on what a lot of teams do in the conference tournaments, because sometimes the committee puts a ton of emphasis on that. But I know the Tide and the team and the coaching staff would love to continue to improve that seeding, and a run in Gainesville could certainly help that.
And how do you are you still concerned about the offense? How do you get it going? Because they really, when they started, 20-0 and whatnot, they were really swinging the bats well up and down the lineup. I know it's peaks and valleys during a season, but a lot of times Coach Murphy's teams in the postseason get it going. This team has been a slower go down the stretch of the conference season. And then we saw there's been lineup changes as well, because Dallas Goodnight was an igniter at the top of the lineup at the start of the season when the season first started, but we haven't seen as much of her down the stretch.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I was talking to Emily Petek after the game on Sunday, and I said, we're in completely the opposite situation as we were last year. Because going into the SEC tournament, we had the first-team defense, and the lineup was pretty much set. I could fill it out without even having to get the lineup card from Coach Murphy. Yesterday, Callie Hevlin gets her first career start in SEC play and plays the best she has looked all year long. It was an incredible performance by a freshman getting her shot. So it's it's at least fun, I think, to not really know what's going to happen, what the lineup could be. It all depends on what these players do in practice and what they look like preparing for some of these games. I will say this about the offensive issues. It feels more drawn out, I think, especially for us, because we're in the thick of it and we're on the road and we're with the team and doing all these things. But going into the Missouri series, Alabama was still third in SEC play, runners in scoring position batting average, and third with runners on. So the stats don't necessarily say that this has been an issue all year long. It's just something that's kind of popped up these last few weeks. Now, the timing's not great, but in my opinion, if it can pop up, it can also go away at any time. And I think that this offense got a lot of little boosts from players, Abby Dorr, as you mentioned, Ashley Prangy, that could be what propels this offense to really get the bats rolling going into the postseason. And I think we're going to see the offense really start to click sooner rather than later.
No doubt about it, and that's going to be the key, no doubt. How many teams do you think have a legit shot to win this thing in Gainesville?
Oh, man. 11?
Wow.
I'll take out South Carolina and I'll take out Mississippi State because I'm not sure Mississippi State beats LSU on Wednesday. But A&M, if they get hot, I could see it. And everybody else, in this league, there are offensive players on each lineup that you've got to be careful with. Every team, I feel like, has a pitcher that has the capability of getting hot, or we have evidence of her getting hot and going on runs. It could seriously be a total crapshoot how this is going to go down. And that is so exciting. This has been one of the craziest years of college softball ever. I was saying last night, if you took out Oklahoma coming into the NCAA tournament, we would have no idea who's going to win the national championship this year. And still, Oklahoma is certainly not unbeatable by any stretch of the imagination. So I'm really excited to get to Gainesville. I think we're going to see some great softball. And if it's anything like last year, there are going to be some insane games that you folks won't want to miss.
Well, I think the one thing, though, that should happen during the regular season, and hopefully we'll get it in the tournament, is that Alabama and Auburn play each other.
That feels possible. I don't want to spoil my bracket yet, but Maddie has been throwing well, and this is a Missouri team that is very aggressive at the plate. They'll take their hacks, and Maddie Pence is the kind of pitcher that if she's got her movement going, she can take advantage of that. And it would be interesting to see the Tide and the Tigers face off because we, like you said, didn't get a chance to do that this year, and it would be fun to have that with so much on the line in the SEC tournament.
Well, in grade two, the neat thing is with how the weirdness of the schedule, for who rotated off, Alabama could potentially get Auburn in their first game on Thursday at 2:30, and then if they win that game in Tennessee and the brackets hold, they did not play Tennessee either. They could see Tennessee in the semifinal.
Yeah, and by the way, Allie Shipman's old team.
Yeah,
so
there you go.
And by the way, if the seeding holds in the championship,
that's right.
So there
Kendall Betsides. Yeah,
exactly. That's what's great about the sport, right? I mean, there are so many little tiny things going into each game. You're like, ooh, that's a storyline. That's a storyline. This could be a really fun event, and I think in particular that potential semifinal between Alabama and Tennessee. Ashley Rogers is pitching very well for the Lady Vols right now, but she went on that run last year with Tennessee, and she did not get the chance to throw against the Tide in the SEC tournament because she'd thrown, I think, 300-plus pitches in the first two games. Will she get her shot this year? That is something I'm going to be looking forward to. And, again, I mean, can you tell? I cannot wait to get to Gainesville. This is going to be so much fun.
Yeah, it really is. It's going to be a great tournament, no doubt. And, of course, it's going to start on Tuesday with the play-in game, A&M and South Carolina at 7 o'clock on SEC Network. And then the bracket will begin in earnest on Wednesday, May the 11th. And then Gray will be there for the duration and be bringing you all the action. Gray, I know you're doing, of course, the University of Alabama. Are you going to be doing some of the rest of the tournament as well?
No, I will just be there with the team. So you say duration. That's my hope.
Yeah, absolutely. To be there to see Alabama potentially win back-to-back SEC tournaments. We will see if they can pull that off and potentially play 3 teams that maybe they didn't play in the regular season. If they get the Auburn Lady Tigers, Tennessee, and then I think everybody would love to see Arkansas and Alabama tee it up. They did not during the regular season, and as Gray pointed out, it would be, of course, Shipman's former team, Tennessee, and then Kendall Beth Sides at Arkansas now, and she would face Alabama. That would be some outstanding action, some outstanding softball. It should be the most high-level softball in the country. We're envious, man. Enjoy the trip to Gainesville. Enjoy the tournament, and hopefully help the Crimson Tide bring back another title. But we always appreciate you coming on and talking some softball with us.
Thanks so much, guys.
Appreciate it.
Let's get our final break in. When we come back, going to wrap up our 2-hour extravaganza from Bill Penney Toyota.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
The world champs are back. The Braves are out to defend their world championship. And behind Matt Olson, Ronald Acuna, Dansby Swanson, Max Fried, and this loaded 2022 roster, a repeat is within reach.
There goes Ozzie, 2-2 on the way, hit well. Deep center field. Might have ourselves a tie ball game. You betcha.
And we'll bring you every huge moment of the Braves 2022 season right here on the Atlanta Braves Radio Network.
If you need a car, McCurry Motors is ready to put you in a quality vehicle, and in-house financing is available. If you have a job, McCurry Motors will work with you even if you have a bankruptcy, divorce, or bad credit. Visit McCurrySaysYes.com. Every car comes with a warranty, and they report to the Credit Bureau. With 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens, call 256-230-0232, or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville. Call 256-713-0575.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
Gunner's Landing is one of the Tennessee Valley's finest golf experiences. Just 35 minutes from downtown Huntsville, Gunner's Landing's 18-hole championship Jewel is open to the public 7 days a week. Located in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains, Gunner's Landing offers you a golf experience like no other. With beautiful Lake Gunnersville views throughout the round, Gunner's Landing is golf the way nature intended. Gunner's Landing's Club Repair Shop offers a full range of services, including re-gripping and adjusting the lofts and lies of your clubs, even putters. Since the work is done in-house, your clubs will be returned to you in a timely manner. Unmatched in the North Alabama area, it is Gunner's Landing. Schedule your tee time today at gunnerslandinggolf.com. That's gunnerslandinggolf.com.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. You know, you'll hear people say we're like a family, but here at the Lackey Law Firm, that's really true, not just a saying.
I'm Justin Lackey. With my father and my sister, we have a special connection to each other.
I'm Jennifer Lackey. At the Lackey Law Firm, when we take on your case, you become part of our family. You really do.
And we'll always do whatever it takes to get everything you deserve.
If you're injured, you worry about getting well, not about paperwork or insurance companies or figuring out how to get to your lawyer's office. I'll come to you.
We worry about your case so you don't have to.
When you've been injured, we know that your case is probably the biggest thing going on in your life. More important than almost anything else.
And it's important to us, too, for one simple reason. Family takes care of each other, and at the Lackey Law Firm, we'll take care of you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Got a couple of new injury wrecks. 231 and Monroe Road reported with injuries. Tony and Old Railroad Bed also reported as an injury type. They were already working one with injuries on Mountain Park at Brett Circle. That's off Sparkman. And we had one in Decatur trying to clear Gordon Terry eastbound at Whitlow. May still be causing some problems. Snelling has immediate need for a customer service rep with warehouse experience and solid computer skills. Huntsville.snelling.com. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
This segment of Talkin Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com. It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. A lot of stuff to get through as far as headlines go. One NFL news and note: the Tennessee Titans will be on Monday Night Football. Titans and the Bills, Monday, September 19th. That's going to be in Buffalo. But the Tennessee Titans will appear in Week 2 of ESPN's Monday Night Football. And, of course, that'll mark the new broadcast booth for Monday Night Football. Don't forget, that's Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, part of the Monday
Joy
Night
to the world.
Monday Night crew for ESPN.
It's got to be an improvement, but still not a big Joe Buck fan. So
it'll be a big improvement for what ESPN's had in the past few years.
Oh, I think so. Even though I thought it had gotten better, but certainly Joe Buck and Troy Aikman are a seasoned crew. They're worked together for a long time for Fox, and again, they should do a nice job.
All right, Go South Conference baseball and softball updates for you. UAH baseball will take on number 1 seed Delta State today in a game where if UAH wins, they will move into the championship series tomorrow. If they fall, then they are done in the Gulf South Conference baseball tournament. They will take on Delta State. If they somehow win, they will take on either Lee or Shorter in the championship game.
And we had already been told by Coach Hunter Royer that Lee's a very talented team, and they actually knocked UAH out of the winner's bracket yesterday, 8-5.
Yes.
And Shorter, a lot of really good pitching for them.
So that'll be at 11 o'clock this morning. You can hear that or watch that. And then the UAH softball team will find out this morning at 9 o'clock, right after our show ends, where they will be headed in the NCAA softball tournament. We expect the Chargers to get a bid into the Division II softball tournament. They made it all the way to the Gulf South Conference championship game and lost to Auburn Montgomery 7-4, but the Chargers had already beaten Auburn Montgomery once in the tournament, 1-0, but couldn't quite get that second win.
They could not, but they still finished runner-up. And you would think, of course, along with Auburn Montgomery, that UAH would have a really good shot at getting into postseason yet again under Coach Tudeman's outstanding leadership. And they're a perennial postseason team and contender, as they have been since 1995 when she started the program.
And we do need to wish a happy birthday to Ole Miss head coach Lane Kiffin. Today's Lane Kiffin's birthday.
Congratulations. Happy birthday. Stop making stupid fourth down, gambles. Unless you play Alabama, then keep it up.
He's kind of lived in the transfer portal this offseason a little bit.
Yeah, he's basically nicknamed himself King of the Portal. So we'll see if it works. He's definitely the anti-Dabo. He's been
that's true.
He's been extremely aggressive in the portal.
I don't know too many coaches that are like Dabo in the college football world that are so anti transfer portal-ish, I guess you could say. There's not too many coaches out there that do what Dabo's trying to pull off.
Well, got to admit, he was at the Braves game this weekend and he got some airtime, and he's definitely his own guy, and you got to give him credit for that. And so we'll see if it continues to work, but going to be fascinating with all these changes on his coaching staff to see if Clemson can stay elite.
Andrea Adelson put out an interesting tweet a little bit ago this morning, and Dave Doran, it's an interesting conversation that she put out here. It's an interesting talk. This is her tweet. She put it out an hour ago. She says, I also expect a deeper philosophical discussions about the ACC as a whole, especially when the money gap that's about to widen further between the SEC and the Big Ten, and that is in reference to television contract rights. The Big Ten is about to announce their new deal, we imagine with Fox Sports, that is going to pay the Big Ten an absolute crap load of money. The SEC is about to get a new television rights deal as well. She says the division discussion is on the agenda with a continued push to get rid of them. Lots to discuss. So the ACC discussing some money issues. Steeler Mike is with us this morning. Good morning, sir.
What's up, man?
I got a quick question.
Sure.
Is there a chance that you guys ever, this is really for Drew, you guys ever get the best SEC football coach in the country on your show, Jimbo Fisher, and let Drew interview him because he loves it so much? I'll hang up and listen to your response.
Not very likely. I mean, even if we wanted to get Jimbo Fisher, that's getting an SEC head football coach on the air that's not Derek Mason, or even I don't even know how it is with Clark Lee now, is next to impossible.
Yeah, let's put it this way. I have reached out to several schools this fall over and over and over and over again and have requested coaches over and over
Well, I mean, Auburn was
again.
just here last week for the ambush tour and
requested them.
And we didn't get either Bruce Pearl or Brian Harsin.
But if you had Jimbo Fisher on and you had one question that would be a legitimate question to ask Jimbo Fisher, a legitimate question, flat out question, one question, what would you ask Jimbo Fisher right now?
I would ask him, as far as for his football team, what has been the key? Why have they not been able to be consistent? And they've had one good year, which was the 2020 COVID year, which they were a contender. His other, since he arrived in College Station, it's been 3, 4, and 5 losses. Why have they not been able to be a consistent winning program? What was the issue last year where they dropped 2 games before they play Alabama? They play an unbelievable, I guess you could say 60 minutes of football against Alabama, and then yet still lose 4 games in their division. Why has this program not been consistent? I mean, yes, even before you signed the greatest recruiting class ever to be bought by mankind, you were still recruiting well. Why has this program not been able to be a consistently top level?
Right. What's holding them back?
Top of the SEC West program in his mind, even with the talent that they've had. And they've turned out some talent to the NFL. They've signed good players. Why has this program not been consistent?
I know where you can ask that question at.
Yeah, SEC Media Days. That'll be about the only time you get a chance to.
You'll be able to get that question in.
Yep.
That'll be in Atlanta this year. That's coming up in July, SEC Media Days.
Yep.
Well, that's just going to about do it. The horn's about ready to sound here on our 2 hours extravaganza here from Bill Penney Toyota.
Because this will be year 5 coming up for Jimbo.
It will be an interesting year.
I mean, his third year was really good. His first 2 were extremely mediocre, and then they backslid to mediocrity again this past year. Heck, they dodged a bowl game against a Wake Forest team that probably would have cleaned their clocks due to all the opt-outs because of the NFL draft.
I'll just say this. I mean, you looked, and when we talked about the challenges for every contender, this may be the year, and I know Alabama is very talented on defense. Could be the best defense that we've seen Alabama have, I don't want to say in a long time, but the best defense that we've seen Alabama have, just, numbers-wise, talent-wise. They've got a good defense coming back, especially on that front of the pass rush. But you look at it, there's question marks with every team in the SEC. Multiple question marks with some, single question marks with others. But this could be the year that Jimbo Fisher and Texas A&M find themselves in the mix because there's not a runaway team. All right, that's going to do it. Live from Bill Penney Toyota. Thanks to everybody. We'll be back at it tomorrow morning.
Hey, y'all, this is your girl, Cheryl Underwood, and I want to tell you something. My digestive system used to make me feel sluggish, but those days are over. Now I feel great. That's because I increased my fiber intake with the Metamucil 2-week challenge, and I'm still hooked. I just took Metamucil every day for 14 days, and it's really that easy. Metamucil traps and removes the waste that weighs you down, so you feel lighter and more energetic. Now I never want to go back to that heavy feeling. Are you ready for the Metamucil 2-week challenge? For a coupon and daily support, sign up at Metamucil.com today.
Outdoor season is coming. Can't wait.
Here at Brooks & Collier, neither can we. Outdoor season is also grilling season.